Hello, and thank you for joining me today on this video titled Community Needs, ACEs, and Toxic Stress, where we will discuss high priority needs in communities and how they relate to ACEs and toxic stress. In the fall of 2022, using a needs assessment across 5 counties in West Virginia, Logan, Mercer, Nicholas, Roane, and Tucker, 3 high priority needs were identified: substance use, extended family raising children, and poverty. Additionally, 90% of these respondents felt that these needs caused harm in and to the community. So why are we bringing up these needs, and how can they cause harm in the community? I am so glad you asked, because it's why we are here today. All of these needs are either considered or result of or put someone at risk of an adverse childhood experience, also referred to as an ACE. ACEs are potentially traumatic events a person experiences before the age of 18 and can include many different events and environments, such as experiencing neglect or living in a home with a substance use disorder. It is well documented that experiencing even one ACE places a person at risk for negative short-term and long-term outcomes, which could occur in all aspects of their life. Additionally, the more ACEs a person experiences, the greater risk they are at for developing those negative outcomes. But what is it about ACEs which places a person at risk? One of the main reasons is toxic stress. While stress itself is useful for us to survive, as it forces us to act in self-preservation or to perform in a certain way, toxic stress is different. Toxic stress is our body's response to prolonged and reoccurring adversity, and it can create lasting changes in a person's physical and chemical structure. So let's consider this scenario. You're going about your day, walking around, and a bear crosses your path. Oh no! And if you've ever come across a bear before, or if you've even imagined that scenario, a lot of things are happening in and to your body. You're feeling scared, nervous, you're on full alert, you're frozen, you're questioning, do I run? Do I hide? What do I do? Physically, your heart rate is increasing, you're sweating a lot, your breathing's probably getting shallower, your digestion is slowing down, and your muscles are tense. And then, for whatever reason, this bear decides to go away. Whew, thank goodness, right? And you're able to resume your life. And a few days later, maybe you're at home, in your room, and this bear comes back. Oh no! And you go through the same emotional, mental, and physical responses to that bear being there. And over the next week or so, this bear pops up randomly in your life. Maybe at the grocery store, maybe at work or at school. And each time that bear shows up, you go through the same responses over and over. Until eventually, as you're going about your life, you begin responding as if the bear is there, even when it's not. And so you might be at home, unable to sleep because you're worried, what happens if that bear comes at night? Or you're super jumpy at loud noises in the grocery store, or you're unable to focus at school or at work because what if that bear comes through the door? What am I going to do? So that is how ACEs and toxic stress work. It is that a person experiences these traumatic events and that they are acting and responding in a way as if that event will happen at any moment's notice. And this may be why a child is inattentive at school, or throwing temper tantrums, or unable to sleep, or why an adult may have a sleeping disorder or anxiety disorders later in life. But ACEs can be prevented, or their outcomes can be reduced in their impact because of these things called protective factors. 4 of these protective factors emphasize the role that a community plays in helping prevent or reduce the impacts of ACEs. Strong community family partnerships, stable caring adult mentors for children, access to high-quality services such as healthcare and education, and family-friendly policies in the community. So for these community needs, for ACEs, the community matters, even if it's not directly impacting you. Let's consider little Emerson in our elementary school. They've experienced an ACE in the home, and they respond to that ACE by not being attentive or maybe being aggressive in the classroom. And their teacher is having to address those behaviors, and more than likely worrying about that child at the end of the school day, and they may respond in kind when they're at home by asking for support or guidance, or they themselves are struggling to sleep or focus. And because of that, more than likely their partners, the people they're living with, family, friends, know that there is a child struggling with something at the school. And those people are now taking on this knowledge and this awareness, and maybe they're asking other people for support and for needs of how they can bring something to the school and how they can raise money for this and how they can bring a service here. And before you know it, as people become more aware and talk to others and bring more services, the entire community is impacted. And this is why there needs to be an awareness of community needs, of what ACEs are, what risk they pose, and what protective factors are at play, because the community matters and the community can make a difference. Breaking the Cycle, or BTC, is an initiative of the Adventure Group that is focused on bringing awareness to and preventing adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, and their negative impacts by working with children, families, schools, and communities. Breaking the Cycle and its related materials are made possible by the Claude Worthington Benedum Foundation.